What's going on, guys? I'm ChillisFM. I hit Legend live on stream this past Friday. Today is Sunday, and I just hit number 15 in the world at 3,088 ELO, and it was in the Sunshine Cup. But if you're watching this video after the Sunshine Cup, this video isn't just about my Sunshine Cup team and that run. This video is going to be more focused on, at least as much as I can, focused on the techniques and how I battle to consistently hit high leaderboard places. The past 3 seasons I've hit 3,400 ELO at least. One of those I did hit 3,500 ELO, and both the other ones I was very close but didn't quite break 3,500. And I've been on page 1 of the leaderboard consistently for several seasons on end at this point. So let's go ahead and get into some of these battles. I will go ahead and showcase the team at this point. I am going to be leading Jump Up with Fairy Wind, Aerial Ace, Acrobatics. I'm going to be safe swapping Diggersby. Diggersby super underrated in this cup. And then my closer is going to be Mag Cargo. Let's go ahead and get into some of these battles. This first battle up against Out of Pocket. Everybody knows Pocket. An unbelievably good battler. Won NAIC a couple years ago, I guess, at this point. And yeah, just does phenomenal in competition and phenomenal in GBL. Going to be leading for it. Now, this is a positive lead for Jump Up, especially if you can land at Acrobatics. We're going to go ahead and eat the Swift and throw the Acrobatics. Now, you need to pay attention to patterns. I'm not saying you need to know every single team comp out there, but especially in like small limited metas, it's really easy to pick up on patterns. I noticed pretty quickly that every time there's a Furret, there is a water type in the back. And here it is. We lure out a Shadow Diggersby. We wanted to make sure that we swapped, or not Diggersby, I'm sorry, Quagsire. We wanted to be sure that we swapped at some point. We didn't just stay in that matchup, even though it was already a good matchup. And even though Diggersby doesn't want to eat Trailblazes and Brick Breaks, whichever one Furret would be running, I wanted to swap at some point to lure out that water type. I'd seen it before, so I knew I needed to do it. I'm going to go ahead and come in with Mag Cargo now. Now, this is not so much a team read, so much as just, I just want to keep HP on both my Pokemon. I know that the Trailblaze isn't going to be doing any kind of crazy amount of damage to Mag Cargo, so I can go ahead and tank that, farm up and have energy on both of my Pokemon, and in the back it's going to be a Wigglytuff, which, I mean, honestly, it would have been better if I went in Jump Up because I resist all the charms if I had a lot of HP here on Mag Cargo. But at this point, the game's just already over because I can drop this Wigglytuff's attack and just stay in. All right, into the next one, up against a Shadow Blaziken lead. Now, Shadow Blaziken can actually be tricky because if it does get energy, it can fight back really well against Jump Up. My opponent's going to be swapping out into a Shadow Flygon. And here's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's okay to stay in sometimes. Stay in, get that chip that you need to ensure that you're preserving swap. Yes, you're going to be misaligning the switch clocks, but if it's what you need to ensure swap, when you need swap, these counters are going to shred through my Diggersby, and they'd be doing just as much to Mag Cargo because both take super effect from them. So it was essential that I kept switch, I kept alignment, and I did just that by staying in, throwing that arrows, and then coming in with my Diggersby. I'm going to even be able to pull a shield here, and then I'm going to be able to come back in with my Jump Up. Now, I can tank any one move, but since they're firing off energy, I might want to shield this up, and actually it's going to be a Pidgeot in the back, and I'm just in a great spot, right? We're resisting everything from this Pidgeot with our Mag Cargo. Really, all I needed to do was make sure that I had some energy residual to help against this Blaziken, because if the Blaziken got like a full farm down and I wasn't able to grab the shield, then they could still possibly win this game. But I also need to throw into the Pidgeot before I was in Brave Bird range because the gusts do eventually add up. So we're able to do that. We grab the shield and my opponent concedes the match. Into the next one, another Shadow Blaziken lead. They're going to be actually staying in here, which makes me feel like I'm in a really strong, dominant position. It does give me a little bit of a concern that there might be a water type in the back. Diggersby's not that bad into water types if we have a shield advantage, and they actually let me get this second Aerial Ace off before they even throw one Blaze Kick. So I grab both shields. But I kind of do need to invest shields here, because if they hit me with a Brave Bird or a Stone Edge, it's just going to one-shot. Yeah, I'm gonna not throw immediately. All right, a lot of people try to catch as soon as you get 2 moves, or they try to CMP either way, that's not really what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap on through there. They come in with a Ferret. I don't have a dominant answer for Ferret, so I'm going to go ahead and chip them with the acrobatics and make sure that I leave with some residual on my jump bluff. And see, I think this is a misplay. I think this is a misplay because I could have came and quick attack down with the Diggersby to have a little bit of energy to help me against the Blaziken, because a Blaziken definitely can't tank a Scorching Sands, right? Instead, I get Water Gun down. I don't even do that much damage. I come back in and jump bluff knowing that the Blaziken had energy and I want to be able to get some use out of this jump bluff. But they just Water Gun me into Blaze. I was probably already in Blaze Kick range, to be honest, but they ensured I was in Blaze Kick range. And now really my only play is to go for this Fire Punch, because if I go for Scorching Sands, then they make it to another Blaze Kick. And yeah, see, it's just not enough. Just barely not enough. So yeah, mistakes were made. Honestly, I didn't need to shield my Mag Cargo. I should have taken the energy lead. And you can tell me hindsight is 2020, and perhaps you're right. But I really think just having that energy advantage on Diggersby was probably always the play, especially knowing that my jump bluff was so close to being in Blaze Kick range. Like, keeping that shield was probably the better play there. All right, Abomasnow lead. Abomasnow lead is the absolute worst for this team, especially now as this cup's gone on. A lot of these Abomasnow leads have Gligar and then a water type, and I can't beat that team. So if you see that team and you lose to it, don't worry. It's unbeatable as far as I can tell. But here we lure out a Swampert, and it's a normal Swampert, so I don't have to fear of Hydro Cannon. And look at this. Diggersby's a monster. Diggersby is a monster. Get yourself a good Diggersby. If you don't have one, it's a Pokemon that's been good for a long time. It kind of drops and it comes back. It's good. It's really good. Like, we forced them to throw their energy there. We keep both of our shields. In the back, it's going to be a Clodsire, which admittedly a bit of a core breaker between Mag Cargo and Jump Bluff, because of the Earthquake is double super effective into Mag Cargo. They're going to be resisting all the Fairy Winds and doing super effective damage with either Sludge Bomb or Stone Edge. I've seen both in this cup. Doesn't really matter. I just know I need HP on my Mag Cargo to help with the Abomasnow. So I did full send the Overheat and then come into my Jump Bluff. I have no intention of shielding this Jump Bluff, because the moment I shield the Jump Bluff, yes, I might have energy, but if they come in and they farm down with the Abomasnow, then it just makes it way more awkward. I'd much rather have my shields here, because yeah, I mean, if they hit me with the energy ball, then I might be in Sludge Bomb range, and that might give this Clodsire way more play. I'd much rather have both shields to just look for that full farm through with my Mag Cargo, which is exactly what I do. And then I have the back-to-back Rock Tombs to basically take out this Abomasnow. I think it does actually take out. Yeah, Abomasnow is not very bulky. Yeah, Clodsire actually had 1 HP, but they're not making another move. So GG's, well played. I Jump Bluff, Mag Cargo. Now okay. I should I guess state what these battles are. These are battles pulled from my stream. None of these are recorded from today when I actually hit top 15 in the world, but not a lot has changed. So I didn't feel like it was worth my time to upload these videos for me to add on. Mostly the cup's the same, so is what it is. If you want to see my full legend run, I'll definitely link it somewhere. That right there, how I kind of tab out of the app. Maybe it's controversial. I don't know. I admittedly am not as involved in the community as I once was, so I don't truly know how people feel about it. It's the Elam trick, which I'm going to link that in like the pinned comment. I'm going to link it in the pinned comment. If you don't know the Elam trick, it's a way to essentially avoid one turn lag when you come back in with your Pokemon. You kind of have to tab out of the app and then just go back in. It doesn't stall the switch clock. You're not stalling the game. You're not changing anything in the game. You're just making it work as it's intended to, where you do not come in late. That's the reason I do not feel like it's an exploit, And I feel like, I don't feel like it's a bannable thing, right? There's a lot of things that have come up throughout time, and I've never done like the whole thing with the Mega Master League where you could have more than one Mega. I never even like touched that. I'm not even gonna like do that with buddies, because there's some things that are very clearly not how the game was intended to work. The game is supposed to work where you do not get denied. So all you're doing is ensuring the game works as it's supposed to. I feel like this is fine. And I feel like every player should be doing it. Anyways, overform, if you watch this video back, notice how I always do one Fairy Wind into this Mad Cargo before I dip. That allowed me to get to that extra acrobatics there, and I did not have to rely on the CMP tie to win that game. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about it. Like, technically you are tabbing out of the game, so I don't know, maybe something could come of it one day, but I don't see why it would. All right, into the next battle. Mad Cargo lead. Okay, yeah, that's the one thing I should talk about though, is if you do a Fairy Wind before you dip, then you are going to get outpaced. They're going to be able to get to that overheat before you get to the Scorching Sands. The reason I still do it is because if you don't do it, then you're still throwing the Scorching Sands on alignment. I say CMP, that's only if they throw their move. If they don't throw their move, you give them a whole free Incinerate, which isn't great either. I could see an argument for just going for it. I could see it. But when I see a Mad Cargo lead, at the end of the day, I just want to save shields for my own Mad Cargo, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to handle it. Jumpluff's not ever handling it. Not really. So here I do not get the shield advantage, which means I'm in a very, very bad spot, because they're going to even outpace to this Rock Tomb. I'm going to be firing off my Rock Tomb immediately, because why not, right? I mean, the Incinerates are double resisted, so we're not really worried about Incinerate damage, but I didn't expect them to dip very quickly here. I might overfarm on the second one. Sometimes I do. Normally I do, actually. Yeah. So I'm going to overfarm on this one, just to prevent any kind of weird catch. They're going to actually eat this Rock Tomb. I'm going to go for the catch. You can see they paused there, because otherwise an Incinerate would have came through. And honestly, that was a little bit sloppy for me to throw that Aerial Ace, because me throwing that Aerial Ace was never actually helpful. Like, I should always do a Fairy Wind, try to stretch for the acrobatics, but it's what it is. They showed it up that acrobatics, which actually slightly opened the door for me to win. They're going for the full farm down, which means if my Mad Cargo can farm this down and survive, like, I'd have to survive 2 Seed Bombs. If I can survive 2 Seed Bombs, I'll leave with the Rock Tomb, which would be enough to take them out. It might be a CMB die. In fact, I think it would. But unfortunately, we do not survive the second Seed Bomb, and that's GG's. Well played to my opponent. Yeah, really hard to beat a Mad Cargo lead if you don't get the shield advantage. Which, I mean, most of the time I do, but not every time. All right, Credility safe swap. This is the reason I ran Mad Cargo over Talonflame, initially at least. Sorry, my camera freezes every single video. I don't know why. You resist acid. That's basically it. You resist acid. You're not taking double super effective damage from the rock moves, which means after I throw my Rock Tomb, I can easily tank this Rock Tomb. I'm going to go ahead and farm up as much as I can, get this next Rock Tomb off. This will KO if they decide to let it come through, and my opponent does indeed let it come through. They got one turn swap there, and you can see how quickly they came in. So they clearly did not tap out of the app there. I don't know. I'm not going to like keep talking on it. I'm going to let it go. Anyways, Furred in the back. Furred in the back's a bit tricky here, because I do want to keep my Jumpluff very healthy. I want to keep it outside of Rock Slide range from the Marowak, but my opponent's not throwing energy. Since this is basically their last Pokemon, I felt pretty confident with the Aerial Ace bait. And even if they no-shielded that, then I could just start spamming out Aerial Aces, grab the shield eventually, and get them into Scorching Sands range. They showed up my acrobatics there. They just continue to overfarm. So it does put me in an awkward position because I don't want to come in with my Diggersby if they're loaded on energy. Like, the Trailblazes do add up since they start boosting your attack. Now that they've dumped some energy, I got them as low as I could. Going to come in with my Diggersby. They're going to be swapping out into the Marowak. And I decided to go ahead and shield up the Bone Club. Yes, Trailblaze hits harder than Bone Club. But I was confident that I could... Actually, if I'm honest, I slightly lost track of counts. I thought I was going to be able to outpace here, knowing I only needed 4 quick attacks to this Fire Punch. But being on a 6 cycle for the Trailblaze, they do outpace, but Diggersby just doesn't care. So we're going to get this Fire Punch off, and that's going to KO the Ferret, and that's going to be GG's. So a bit of a misplay by me. Like, I could have definitely made that game cleaner by not shielding up the Bone Club, but it's what it is. All right, Talonflame. Technically worse than a Mad Cargo lead since Diggersby's worse into it, but I'd rather see a Talonflame any game because Jumpluff fights back really good against Talonflame if you like ever have to. Like, acrobatics plus arrow ace basically KOs. And even Diggersby, like, you're doing resisted damage with the charge moves, but you could put in a lot of work here. They do throw the Brave Bird. They dip out into a Ferret. I'm going to hit them with the Scorching Sands. I'm going to be coming back in with the Jumpluff. You can see I'm pretty consistently tabbing out. Yeah, I don't like getting denied, so yeah, I do it. Swift comes through. And I just want energy for Talonflame. Like, the Talon was low. And I know if I farm to 100 energy, I can throw the acrobatics here and still just be 2 fairy winds away from the next acrobatics, meaning I can get the next acrobatics off while only taking 1 incinerate worth of damage. Aerial wasn't going to be enough to take out. They're probably shielding either way, but my main goal was to have a shield advantage for my Mad Cargo. Now this is awkward, everything's resisted, but a Brave Bird still does a ton of damage, so I am going to go ahead and throw up a shield there. They get their shield back, and I needed to win this game, by the way. I was 1 and 2 in the set, and this was the set, like, I was like 13 or 16 points from Legend, something like that. I had to win this game, so I full send the overheat, and I'm like, hold on, we still have play here. We still have play after it connects. Going to go for the combo. We snipe with the Fairy Wind here. And then because I've been careful with my energy, the opponent is forced to throw immediately here with the Fly. I'm going to go for the Incinerate down, and we get the Incinerate down, and that's a GG's. Well played to my opponent. So yeah, you can see I just got the 3-2. On stream it was 4-1, 4-1, and then the final set was a 3-2. I started 0-2. It would overcome it. So yeah, that's going to really wrap up the battles for today. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I hope you learned a thing or two in today's video as well. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave some comments down below. I'm not great at uploading right now. I do apologize. I talked a bit more about that on the stream, so check out the stream if you want to hear me talk about it. I think it was more towards the end of the stream, so definitely check that out. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my channel members for your support. And until next time, this is ChillisFM reminding you to always keep pushing forward.